This is the Palin Update on Net Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
Benghazi, where 200-plus years of honorable military ethos was thrown out the window when we left our own behind to be slaughtered by radical Muslims.
Governor Palin shines on Fox, telling it like it is on the record. We'll look back. Karen Watson is here, author of Being Black and Republican in the Age of Obama. Governor Palin commends a former president's gesture in honor of a sick child. Putting a face to Benghazi. Plus, the governor speaks at a big farming event in South Dakota. Our new feature, Commonwealth Common Sense, with Susan Stimson, officially debuts today. And just ahead, our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman. First, she is the founder and president of GOPBuzz.com and the author of Being Black and Republican in the Age of Obama. Karen Watson, welcome to the Palin Update.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, you've been an active Republican for years, since high school, and you even got to attend the GOP convention back in 1984 to support the Reagan-Bush ticket. What was that like for a young student to see our great President Reagan accept the nomination for his re-election bid?
It was awesome. I guess you don't realize how great a man Ronald Reagan was until you see. He was so iconic, and so it was an honor. It was a true honor. I was so glad I was able to be a part of that. What
do you think Reagan would think of all the scandals coming out of Washington right now? I mean, there's always been political, back and forth and battles and turmoil, but this is really unprecedented right now.
The thing is that I always felt, is that when everything's said and done, Reagan cared about this country, and he cared about everyone in this country, and he cared about America. And I know that there are so many people who have doubts about this administration. They are more concerned about their own agendas. They're more concerned about their trying to promote things that are so un-American. And I think he would be very saddened. I was telling one of my friends from high school, I said, this is not the country I was born into. The country that I was born into is not this.
And you mentioned how Reagan cared about everyone as Americans. This administration seems to bring race into everything, going exactly against not only Reagan, but the words of Martin Luther King, and almost always judging by skin color, not character. Is that attitude one of the reasons you felt compelled to write your book?
Well, I wrote the book because I think it was a message that needed to be out in the public sphere. I'm very saddened that race has been used to continue to splinter our country. And unfortunately, Barack Obama, who is half white, you know what I'm saying? Let's be honest about that. He is using the tactics of race, the tactics of class, the tactics of whatever he can to get people off message of what is really going on in this country. So if he gets people thinking that we're not American, but you're Black American, you're not American, you're Hispanic. If you're not American, you're this, you're that. You know what I'm saying? Then people start thinking about those differences because he's majoring in the minors instead of talking about the $17 trillion in debt, the NSA, the IRS. Benghazi. Because he gets people so caught up in minutia and telling people that's the reason, that, things aren't doing well. It's not his failed policies. He's personalizing agendas for his own benefit, and it's very sad.
Race baiting, driving wedges between fellow Americans. It seems to be the MO of this crowd in D.C. and really liberals everywhere. And it's not just race. They divide us on gender, sexual orientation, religion, but certainly race has been in the forefront recently. The George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin case seemed to just stir things up again, especially with Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. Yes. And then, I guess you expect it from them, but you have a sitting president, Barack Obama, commenting on the case again and again. Why is a president even speaking about this, many say? What was your take on how all of this is unfolded as a Black woman?
he's speaking on this because he doesn't want to speak on the real issues. You see what I'm saying? The real issues are we've got $17 trillion in debt. We're in a very unstable world, a lot due to his policies. So if he gets 13% of the population and he goes and tries to put salt in the wounds, tries to stir something up, if Barack Obama cared about young black children, he would go to his district in Chicago where it is open season on young black men and try to do something. He cares nothing. This is just an issue. It is a diversion. And that is what is sickening about this. He is using the life of a 17-year-old child for his political benefit. I have said so many times, I wish that Barack Obama cared 1% for as much as the black community cares about Barack Obama. We have Detroit that just filed for bankruptcy. Detroit in 2012 voted 98% for Barack Obama. That's insanity. That is just insanity. I call it, like in my on one of the blogs I did on GOPBuzz.com, that's the Stockholm syndrome. Why would a city that was once a very prosperous city, due to the failed policies of the left, people don't understand how dangerous the left is. It's not just a difference. It is a danger. And if we don't wake up as Americans and stop this silly game of splintering ourselves into gender, class, what happened in Detroit will be what's happening in every town and every city.
You know, you make a great point there, too, about, using the Trayvon Martin's death here to his advantage. He did the same thing with Sandy Hook. I mean, you had all those children mowed down, and he used this to push a gun agenda that they already had before, some maniac wipes out a classroom. So, we've seen this before, unfortunately, and you would think, it's bad enough to do it once, to not be checked on it, to do it here again. You're a great speaker. You've been featured at several Tea Party events. One line that struck me from a speech you did in Texas a while back, you said, so many blacks and women are on the right side. And I know that gets a lot of applause from people. And to some people are shocked by a comment like that because they just keep seeing Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and MSNBC and all of the liberal media and the way they're pushing things to try to tell you something else. So what is the story here? Are there black conservatives out there that are maybe too scared to say so?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, the Republican Party has got to get a backbone. We have got to. I was talking to one of my associates just the other day, I told her, I said, we either believe in this or we don't. We either believe in Americanism or we don't. We have to have the power of conviction. And once we have the power of conviction, then see parts, and we can stop all of this nonsense, and we can either be true to what we believe. Either America was this great shining light on the hill, or it wasn't. And part of the problem is we have not stood to what we believe. And when people come out who have been amazing, like Sarah Palin, like Herman Cain, like, Alan West, like Ben Carson, we don't support our own. We have the Democrats that are still supporting Anthony Weiner, the scuzz bucket of the year. And we won't even support Dr. Ben Carson, a neurosurgeon. We have got to wake up. That's what I'm saying. We have got to be totally convinced of what it is we believe. I think that is the problem. We have so many conservatives who have thought they were conservatives because we run campaigns as, the better of two evils. No, there is a reason why people want to come to America. If there is a reason why we have In God We Trust, there is a reason. This is not just some experiment. This has been the best country and it's because of our values. And when we take those values for granted, what do we expect is going to happen?
You talk about these Republicans without a backbone, and, that's really, we know what the left's going to do. I have found that to be the biggest problem. They're the enablers here, where they're, no spine, the jellyfish approach here, and especially today, when we have a president who can't function without a teleprompter and all these other politicians reading from a script. Don't we need more, like Sarah Palin, for instance, the candor that she brings to the table? Does her straight talk resonate, and don't we need more of that, where we're not reading, but we're actually speaking from the heart and sticking to what we say?
Sarah Palin has been proven to be a prophet. The things she was saying in 2008 have come to fruition. I mean, we have got to wake up. We have a president that just spent $100 million on a vacation of our tax money. If he had a need to go on vacation, which to me, I don't think he needed to be going on vacation. That's a whole other issue. But let's just say he felt he needed to go on vacation when so many Americans have not been able to go on a vacation. Why didn't he tour America? Why didn't he take our tax money and benefit our country? This is the kind of nonsense that gets passed and no one says anything. We just wink and act like it's no big deal. School kids can't even tour the White House. But we have a president that can go all the way and spend $100 million in Africa? Give me a break. We rise and fall on the principles that make America America. Freedom, liberty. And now we're sitting here worrying about what happened in a town in Florida in a place where most people can't pick it out on a map. And we've gotten people that are marching over this. They ought to be marching over our president spending $100 million of taxpayer money to go on a weekly vacation. The cronyism of this administration is sickening. The NSA is sickening. Benghazi is disturbing. When did we become a nation that would tolerate Benghazi? What kind of nation have we become? I feel like I've woken up in a nightmare. This is not the nation that Ronald Reagan left us.
But you know what? When we hear people like you, everybody remembers again why we're still optimistic, and we know that no matter what the media tries to put out, we know that folks like you, great Americans, are out there fighting it every day. Tell everybody how we can get their hands on your book.
Please, I really want people to get this. I believe that we have got to turn our country around. I thank people like Sarah Palin and true patriots who I say have been the true prophets who saw what was going to happen with Obamacare, with the death panels way back when. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like she's Isaiah. She said it, and now we're living it. Please go to GOPBuzz.com. Get my book, Being Black and Republican in the Age of Obama. I have a lot of data mining. The left has made a lot of promises that they will not fulfill as they did it in Detroit. People are waiting. They have made secularism the new god, that the government was going to come in and rescue everything and save everything. Of course, they have done none of that. They have created unholy huddles where only Barack Obama's friends and close-knit families have benefits. Solyndra, I mean, it is one big shame. I hope we have enough energy and strength to do that.
Karen Watson, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very, very much. It's been my honor.
Learn more about Karen Watson and her hard-hitting book at GOPBuzz.com. Well, Governor Palin made a powerful appearance on Greta Van Sustren's On the Record program on Fox this past week. Palin letting the world know that she was indeed told by McCain handlers to lay off of certain topics while she was running for vice president. Barack Obama's relationship with Reverend Wright, for example. During the show, Palin also ripped Obama for referring to his ongoing failures that have crippled America as phony scandals. Palin even broke out what she called the redneck version of Rove's whiteboard. It was a piece of paper with all the Obama scandals written on it. A funny approach, but a scary reality when you read the list. Governor Palin shining once again on Fox. One of the many scandals, of course, is Benghazi, and this past week Governor Palin put a face to the horrific tale that is ignored by much of the media and the administration. Palin posted a picture of Glenn Doherty, one of the victims of the Benghazi attack. Palin saying, "Let's remember this brave American who gave his life serving our country." Sarah Palin highlighted an amazing gesture from former President George H.W. Bush this past week. Bush 41 shaved his head as a sign of solidarity with little Patrick, the son of a member of Bush's security detail who's battling cancer. The 2-year-old lost his hair during treatment for leukemia. Bush wasn't alone, with the new do other members of his Secret Service detail also going bald. Governor Palin spoke at the Ag PhD Field Day in South Dakota this past week. Palin said she was honored to attend a great event in South Dakota with farmers from all over the country, and the governor was accompanied by Piper at the event. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page, or you can follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA. Now, our brand new feature.
It's time for Commonwealth Common Sense with Susan Stimson and Kevin Scholla.
Susan Stimson, welcome back.
It is great to be here. Thank you, Kevin.
Now, I know that Sarah Palin's comments this past week really meant something to you, and you think they're very important. She mentioned on the Greta program that during the campaign with John McCain as her running mate, she was basically muzzled. There were things she wasn't allowed to talk about. Now, we knew this, but she never really publicly said it so frankly in the way she said it the other night. Jeremiah Wright, Bill Ayers, that type of thing. And now what do we have? We have a president with scandal after scandal. So, told you so, basically. And here's Sarah Palin, who Republicans were telling her not to say these things because, of course, heaven forbid you offend Barack Obama. So this really struck a chord with you.
It did, and I can tell you just from a leadership perspective, I'm the chairman of the board of the 7th largest county in Virginia, so I do know that what leaders say, their words have impact. So we do need to be measured in what we're saying and what we're conveying. But at the same time, I also have a concern of what I have seen over the past few years in the dialogue or lack thereof, that our leaders have become so in tune with the 24/7 news cycle and so concerned about how each little snippet of everything that they say will impact the result of their next election, that I see a complete leadership vacuum. And what you're seeing right now, Sarah Palin led the charge on this type of leadership, I believe. And I'm not talking about before her with the founding fathers or people like Reagan, but I'm talking in the last few years here of really asking tough questions, and it was in the interest of transparency. Now, if you fast forward it, we have Chris Christie, who I like a lot of the things that he has done, but now he's saying that Rand Paul is dangerous for asking questions about what is the reason that we would be taking our nation into a conflict where our men and women could be killed or harmed. So I just see this struggle right now of our leaders being afraid to lead, and also a pushback on the power structure to keep control of what the message is.
That's a great point, and we've seen Christie, before. He's had some back and forth with Governor Palin a while back, and now here with Rand Paul. I think a lot of it, too, is he certainly doesn't like sharing the stage, if he's not number one, and, he sees all the momentum that Paul is getting from, liberty lovers across the country, with a real message, and, of course, he's trying to get those Democrats and get those liberals and get those independents in case he does run for president. You see already in New Jersey he's being backed and endorsed by Democrat after Democrat. You know, if you looked at that on paper, you could say, well, that's a good thing, you know, working with everybody, yes, but you're talking about people with far left ideology here, Obama backers who are endorsing him, so credibility right there I think is sliding.
When he came onto the scene, the thing that was so intriguing about him is that he was unafraid to say what needed to be said, and he was not concerned that it may come across the wrong way, but he was just speaking plainly. And I think that that is what the American people are missing right now in their leaders. And certainly I know in my experience over the last year in running for lieutenant governor, there was a struggle within the Republican Party itself for all of us to just remain in lockstep with everything that the Republican leadership was doing. And if we are so programmed to only just go along to get along, then we're going to continue to roll on all of these liberties that we see President Obama just assailing every day. And so I'm calling on Chris Christie to get back to his roots, get back to what made him so intriguing when he first became governor of New Jersey. And I just want to encourage all of our leaders, don't worry about your next election. There is a freedom in that. And I think that the people will recognize that leadership in our leaders if they're willing to do that.
Well, you hit it right there, worrying about next elections, worrying about polls. You've seen the change from Christie, who you're talking about specifically, but we've seen it from so many of these guys. You know, they're reading the teleprompters, they're speaking from scripts, not from the heart, and that is the thing Governor Palin, whether when she was the governor of Alaska, when she ran for vice president, as much as she was quote-unquote allowed to do, and certainly now from a pundit standpoint, she does not mince words. She's talking to people the way you and I talk, you know, and the way families talk at their kitchen tables, and that's what's appreciated. And Susan, great points here. I think you're certainly on to something. We'll see if he listens. I mean, we know Rand Paul and Ted Cruz and those types are doing it right. Chris Christie looks like he's going the other way, but we appreciate it, and thank you for your insight.
Sounds great, Kevin. I hope you have a great week, and we'll talk next week.
Great stuff from Susan Stimson. So glad she's on board here on SarahNet Radio, and we will have more Commonwealth Common Sense next week. Now, our weekly commentary, Steel Resolve. Here's Sarah Steelman.
Thanks, Kevin. This week, it is interesting to note the contrasting leadership of Pope Francis and President Obama. Pope Francis traveled to Brazil, delivering very heartfelt words about the responsibilities of faithful people. No one can remain insensitive to the inequalities that persist in the world, he told the crowd in the heart of one of the worst slums in Rio de Janeiro. He called on those who had the means to help to do their spiritual duties. He leads by Jesus' example of going directly to the people and ministering to those in desperate need of help. Contrast this with President Obama's speech about Trayvon Martin and racism in America. His speech was heartfelt. He told of personal experiences. Unfortunately, as usual, he spoke at us, giving us a professorial lecture. He has the powerful bully pulpit of the first African-American president. He can credibly talk about racism, but he can also do something about very real problems facing many African-Americans. Instead, he stood safe within the walls of the White House, behind a podium, surrounded by staff. What a difference, more convincing and effective leader he would be if, like the Pope, he spent his time going straight to the people in the poverty and crime-stricken areas of South Chicago or St. Louis or L.A. and personally talked and listened and helped real people solve their problems. This is Sarah Steelman for SarahNet Radio.
Tune in again next week for another segment of Steel Resolve right here on the Palin Update. The Palin Update, including Commonwealth Common Sense and Steel Resolve, is on demand and available for download, so just head to SarahNetRadio.net, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on SarahNet Radio. Visit SarahNetRadio.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, follow along on Twitter at SarahNet Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Susan B. Stimson, and at Sarah_Steelman. We're on Facebook, too, so you can like Saranet Radio and like Kevin Scholla. Palin Patriots is our feature on Saranet.net. Check out the writings from our great panel of contributors, including Martha Zoller and Bader Carmoot. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Just go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I want to thank Sarah Steelman, Susan Stimson, and everyone here at Saranet Radio. Thanks to Karen Watson, and thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.